Application is the key, man. Applying yourself, man.
Yes, sir.
We work hard
Yes,
at
sir.
naught, man. And with a lot less effort, man, we could be great. We could be great, man, at all of the things that we think are beyond our reach. Sometimes we create glass ceilings over our own heads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
bro. Like
you know
you said
what?
all the time, like the sky's not the limit, it's just a view. Like there's nothing in this world I can't do. Like none of it. And we just gotta apply ourselves. And the thing is, a lot of us don't understand it. And even like for me, it's not even. It ain't even really experiences. Like, well, this is an experience. It's like from when I went to prison, bro. Like I understood God's grace, so I don't take it for granted. Like, bro, don't ever ask me how I'm doing. I'm forever good. I'm home with the kids. Like, what are we talking about? I'm always good. Everything else we'll figure out.
No question. Ain't no bad day. Yeah.
Ain't no bad.
I built this. Me, brick by brick.
Welcome to Brick by Brick, where we discuss different ways for you to build your empire, one brick at a time. We discuss everything from real estate, e-commerce, stocks, crypto, and more. Whether you're an entrepreneur, working a 9-to-5, or in the streets, Brick by Brick is here to help you get to the next level. Let's go.
All right, y'all, what is going on? Welcome to episode 11. This is technically episode 2 of season 2, but we're just going to keep rocking this episode 11 right here. And this one is very, very special. Of course, you know, we got my big brother G on here, and we got a very special guest, man, the homie Dre on here. And this one's going to be dope because when I've heard a little bit of your story, but I want to learn some more, I want to connect with you a little bit, have the folks connect with you, hear your story. And like I said, hopefully this inspires folks to, one, I mean, it's like Jay said, right? We did that, so hopefully they ain't got to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the whole motto and the mission, man. So before we even get into that, man, fellas, how are y'all doing?
Oh man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Honored to be here.
Yes, sir. Honored to have you, man. Big G, how you doing, man?
Blessed, black, and highly favored, bro. Got no
sir.
complaints.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, man. So last week we discussed like finance and fatherhood and just kind of helping to set that tone, man. But we're kind of back in our original bag. And for those of y'all who've been listening and you know a bit about the show, our mission is to help people build business the right way and build their lives the right way, holistically, whether it be from the finance side, personal side, everything, right? So with that, we just definitely want to get things rolling, man. So Dre, kind of give us an introduction to who you are and a bit of your story, and we're gonna get into some of the finer details, but you can kind of give us a bit of an overview about who you are and who you are, what you do, man.
Man, in a nutshell, you know, I can sum it all up with just saying that, you know, I'm a black man trying to make it in America.
Yes, sir.
You know, there's so many people out there that could relate. You know, I've suffered my own trials and tribulations and gone through, you know, experiences in life that have both been long, hard roads, but also educational at the same time, you know. And I'm a father, you know, and I like to keep that out front, you know, because, you know, my family means a lot to me, you know. Soon to be husband, you know, entrepreneur, in so many variations of the sense. And just, man, like I said, a black man trying to make it in America.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. And I mean, I wouldn't say you trying, man. From what I hear, you're doing it, right? You're making it happen. So that's awesome, man. And before we even get into anything else, Sid, you're about to be a soon-to-be husband, right?
Yeah.
My man,
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats on that, for real, man. That's dope. And like you said, we're also family, man. I said it on the last episode, but Pimp C said it in the episode with Bun B. We're family men getting this paper, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Most definitely. So one of the things Greg told me about was before you became the family man, soon to be husband, entrepreneur that you are now. I heard you used to run a little part of the city and run the block a little bit. So kind of kind of tell us that story a little bit. How did that whole thing come together?
Yeah, man. You know, as a young man growing up, man, in Washington, all around. Just, my mother was a single mother. And, I had siblings. And, late 80s, early 90s, it was socioeconomic challenges, just as they are today. But, in a different tune. And, there was socioeconomic opportunities, as they are today, but, in a different facet. So, I've always been inquisitive, and I've always been, intellectual. So, I would observe my surroundings and try to find a way for me to be able to master, what it is I'm going through. I was the oldest boy, so I had, from the start, I had younger people looking to me for guidance and things like that, and that always propelled me to try to do more. Man, of course, man, the streets hit hard. And we had, I had to stay afloat. I had to survive it. I had to survive, the pitfalls, the turmoils, and I had to also, man, just, once again, man, to try to survive as a Black man in America. I took the game, I ran with it. I learned early. I'm a student of life, and I tend to learn from others, not only others' mistakes, but others' accomplishments. And I realized early on, Washington D.C. is a very isolated town, very isolated city in regards to the Black market, because the national government exists here. We don't have any ports. The only way anything's gonna get in here is if somebody brings it in. And in this area is not very friendly to outsiders. So, it was a dog-eat-dog world. And the only way to create your margins, man, is you had to go get it. You had to become greater than the next man. You had to figure out those angles. And right around the time that I was coming up and getting off the porch, Rayful was going in. So, it kind of sent the city in a frenzy. Things dried up. Opportunity is ripe, of course, when there's great demand and less supply. So, I was adventuristic. I looked outward to try to find, and pursuing fundamental business principles and not even knowing it, going to a place where, the supply is far greater with lesser demand, getting it at a cheaper number and bringing it back, where the demand is extremely high, the supply is low, and it just, in that niche, I found that golden opportunity. Didn't understand, all the things that were to come or that came with that, because, I wasn't necessarily first generation in this war, but I was right there after the ones that laid the foundation, and we didn't see a lot of things coming, and we just went, man, full steam ahead, man. It was an opportunity, man, for us to finally live in that American dream, man, and to have the things that we knew that we, were worthy of, without those barriers and those obstacles, man, and that the things that our forefathers had to go through, man, just to try to get enfranchised into this American dream. So, I won't speak too highly of my accomplishments on that side, because I think at this point in my life, man, it's the greatest thing that I got from it was a lesson.
Yeah.
Because I'm thankful to be,
Yeah, most definitely. And,
Bro,
and you know what?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead,
sorry, I mean to cut you. I think the same thing. Like at first, when I first started shooting the podcast, I didn't try to speak too highly of it because I wasn't proud of it. I was more proud of the blessing that came after it. But I started embracing it more and living in my truth, because guys out there that's like us, they need to understand that, hey, we're not talking because we read it in a book or we watched a movie. We actually lived it. And if we lived it and went through it, and I'm telling you, hey, there are better opportunities over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more you can do. Like, if you if you sold drugs, you know business one-on-one. So you can apply that to something else. So, I mean, it took me maybe 2 or 3 episodes before I actually started really speaking on it. So that guys can understand that, hey, I'm not saying it because it sounds good. I'm saying it because I've done it. And because I've done it, I can tell you, hey, that stove is hot. Don't even touch it because I already touched it. You know what I'm saying? And I got burnt. So let's just go somewhere else and try something else because it's a lot out here for us to do. So with what you said, you're right. But we have to tell the people that, hey, bro, I've done this. This is what I've been through. And this is what it is. I'm not saying it because it sounds good, so that they can really understand and know that, hey, we don't really want to do that. Like, we need to show them something different because, like, we didn't have that. Like, we saw them making money and we saw no opportunities. So we got right to the money where that one opportunity was.
Yeah. And I think the big thing for the conversation and why I respect what you were saying too is because whereas a lot of guys might glorify it and tell the shiny, cool side of it, and people might rap about it and do that whole thing, I think that it's important for us to make it known that these are cautionary tales, right? So the people being on this show are blessed to have made it through what they went through, but these are cautionary tales so that, hey, like letting you know, listen, that's what happened, that's what they did, and at the time, I mean, y'all were younger, so I mean, they say that the mind doesn't even fully form until you're about 25, right? So all you know is, listen, I'm trying to get some money, I'm trying to make it happen, and if this is the way to make that money, then this is what I'm going to do. But as you feel some of the consequences, you learn, you know what? Actually, you know what? There are legal ways to make it happen that sometimes may be slower or just as fast, but there are other avenues to make good money, enjoy your freedom, be there for your family, and really be here and be outside. So yeah, man, definitely respect it. So all right, so to kind of get into some details a bit. Now you were talking about Rayful for those people who may not know. I mean, in people who are in the DC area know Rayful. I mean, his story is very well known. And if you're outside, I feel like a lot of people know. For those of you who don't know, Rayful Edmond was not even just one of those guys. He was that guy in the city as far as being out there in the streets and making money. So you were saying that essentially when he went in, that kind of caused, like, I guess, a bit of a power vacuum, and the city just kind of went wild. So even on that point, I think that one of the things that you said was a very major key, because you were like, well, listen, the guy who was bringing in a lot of the product, he went in, and that caused a major uproar in the city and kind of caused a lot of confusion. But you said that, listen, DC doesn't have ports, so you had to go somewhere else to find that product and bring it back where the demand was. And that to me is, like Greg said, like if you can sell drugs, you can be a business owner, right? So I think one of the lessons from that is, like, listen, you had a product that was in high demand, the supply wasn't there, which made it that much more valuable. You had to go somewhere else to bring that supply back and kind of build your business that way. Now, while it was an illicit business, an illegal business, one of the lessons to anybody listening right now is like, look, whatever market that you're in, if there's a need that needs to be filled, and we're talking about a legal need, that means, listen, if somebody there isn't filling that need, that means you got to be that person to create the solution and build that business. And it might be a little bit more difficult. You might have to step outside of your actual physical comfort zone and your own mental and emotional comfort zone, but that's where the greatness is outside of, like you can't be scared to step up and make those moves, because that's how you end up creating the pathway to actually finding success. Now, I mean, like what Dre was discussing was in the drug way, but in the legal way, I mean, we need to be doing the very same thing. So I think that's a super key lesson right there, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, in progressing forward, I mean, because you know, my illicit activity was profitable, and it was, for a moment, it was successful. I mean, I've proven to be fairly good at it. But then I graduated to the university. It resulted in a an indictment, federal indictment, conspiracy, drug trafficking, which included, several other areas in the country. And a lot of other people and other charges, aiding and abetting, obstruction of justice, money laundering, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And they set me down for a while. I was, you know, facing 30 to life. I went to trial. And by the grace of God, because a lot of people don't make it through those situations. I went to trial, I lost, but I beat most of my indictment. I beat the conspiracy. And
Which is
got
huge.
found of the smallest offense in the indictment. Mind you, I didn't have a criminal history prior to that, you know, arrest record, but no, you know, no criminal history. I ended up getting 210 months, 17 and a half years on 2 counts, 2 separate counts. The judge ran me together. I guess that was the least he can do. And 15 years later, I'm taking another approach at this thing.
Yeah, man, that's huge, man. So
yeah.
All right, so you said they gave you 17, right?
Yeah.
Now a lot of people, they can get that kind of time and go in, and though, I mean, time goes slow, but they can go in there and waste it, and they can come back out and be on some BS, if not worse, or just not even have any skills and just be kind of frozen in time and come back out and just not even know what to do. But while you were in, you actually took a different approach, and you were essentially educating yourself and expanding your mind and preparing yourself for what to do when you came out. So what was that like? I think that's an incredible part of your story that I think people need to hear about. So what was being inside like for you, and what did you do to, I mean, I don't want you to have any crazy flashbacks. I know that's a very hard place to be at, right? But
Yeah.
like what were some of the positive things that one kept you going, and what were some of the things and activities that you did to keep yourself sharp and kind of improve yourself while you were in, to prepare yourself for coming out?
Well, they say hindsight is always 20/20. And I must admit, coming into that situation, man, it was like the craziest thing that ever happened to me at that time. You know, but so what really drove me, because, you know, when the judge gave me that time and I got back to the jail and thought about what the next 20 years of my life was going to consist of, I really didn't know what to do. So the first thing, you know, my natural instinct kicked in, and the first desire that came to me was to fight for my life. So I immediately started going to the law library. Said, you know, I'm not gonna let this defeat me. And, you know, I'm gonna try to prevail. I'm gonna try to rise above this situation, and, you know, and try to emancipate myself from this. And after a while, right, and once I got into the feds and got around, you know, these other guys of all facets of life, and there were other men like me, you know, I mean, and then, you know, a lot of men like me with 30 years, with life sentences, with, you know, all this time, you know, and men of good character, you know, intelligent men, accomplishment, you know, so, you know, I go in there and I go in the law library, and I realize after some time, I'm fighting for my life, and I'm learning to understand, you know, how the law works, kind of how the law works for those who know how to work it. And essentially, the laws are rules of the game. The laws are what govern, you know, business practices. These laws, I'm looking at the United States Code and these statutes, and there's a statute and a code for everything. You know, the Federal Trade Commission, they have the books in there. So I'm just, you know, now I'm seeking to learn and answer all the questions, that the large questions that were unfathomable to me in the first half of my life. I'm starting to seek to understand the answers to all of these questions, because on the first half, I want to get out. Towards the middle, I'm like, I need to start learning how to not ever end up back in here. I'm seeing other guys, I'm seeing guys, you know, in all, you know, all types of business professionals, all types of entrepreneurs that made mistakes and ended up in here by not following the rules. And I want to emphasize that, because great man once said that law governs all events. And I didn't understand the depth of that when I first heard it. But as I continue to study and as I continue to adopt ideas, fresh ideas about how I'm going to reinvent myself, I realized that there were rules to every game, and all those rules lie within the law. So it was the law that was the first thing that I knew I had to ground myself in, because initially it was criminal law, but then when I got into commercial law and all of these things, and even now where I find myself now, I deal with municipal law in the profession I deal with, and then in real estate, there are rules to banking. There, you got to know how and why these interest rates move the way they do, and all of that is ingrained in the law. That the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, is an arm of the law. So, and it just opened my mind up to the universe, man. It let me know, number one, that there was nothing that was unattainable to me. Whereas growing up, I didn't, in the neighborhood that I grew up in, there were no doctors or lawyers or anything of that sort that could say, man, you can do this. Yeah. Or, that could influence me, or that I could see, another person that looked like me actually achieving success at some of these ideas, because, when we were growing up, what do you want to be? They ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we, everybody, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a doctor. I want to, but, if that wasn't a part of your reality, it wasn't a reality. You couldn't fathom. You didn't know what the process was. There was no one to tell you how many years you had to go to school to do this. So, when I got around these other guys, and I started to educate myself, and I started to build up a level of confidence, and understanding that, I have everything it takes to make it. The perseverance, the tenacity, the long suffering, the willingness, the drive. I just needed to be informed, and I think, I'm thankful in these eras and times that we are, with this information age, we're able to communicate. Like, we have venues like this, man, where we could reach other brothers, man, who may feel isolated from that other socioeconomic class, who may feel that there are so many barriers to entry. It's not, man. It's just, intelligence rules the world. Marcus Garvey said, and ignorance will always be the burden. So, that was the beginning of that quest, and it's just been a steady progression.
Yeah. Okay, man. So I think, there were a few key points in that. So you said essentially the first half of you being in there was essentially trying to figure out, okay, what information do I need to get out of here, right? And then it's like trying to free yourself. And then eventually you were like, all right, maybe that isn't the best focus. Like, man, I need to be thinking about, all right, what am I gonna do when I get out of here, and how can I prepare myself best to be the best version of myself when I get out of here? So, all right, so what were some of the books or some of the information that you came across to kind of help you for that preparation?
Man, oh my goodness. And that was one of the beautiful things about doing time. Is understanding, and a lot of cliches in there to keep us going, mantras, if you will. Don't do the time, don't let the time do you. You got to do your time. And we had opportunities to read, man, and that was another thing. The amount of information in education that I found in books. I've read so many. The Unseen Hand. I've read one of my favorite is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Amazing. Ayn Rand is an economist that escaped from the former Soviet Union. You familiar? She's
Not his thing. I've never read the book. I've heard. I mean, they got a book, they got the movie, and the whole nine. And I've heard great things, and it's almost, I just haven't read it yet, but I heard great things about it.
yes, if you ever find a time, man, Atlas Shrugged. And she creates this fictional thing surrounding a railroad, and it was I guess when I want to say it was based around in the 30s, with the at the helm of the industrial age, at the peak of it, and so but it gives you it's a real entertaining way of explaining economics. And the interplay of the characters it's amazing. It was a renowned book. I think I just picked it up in passing, and then I ended up reading reviews about it after the fact and realizing how renowned this piece of literature is. I mean, it was a great read, man. And Standing at the Scratch Line by Guy Johnson, which
Okay.
is Guy Johnson is he's actually Maya Angelou's son.
Oh wow.
And man, another book based in that same time frame, and it's about a brother out of Louisiana who has to deal with Jim Crow. He's coming from the South, man, and he just he burns his own path, man, and perseveres all the challenges surrounding him in that era, man. And he acquires his own wealth, and that was a phenomenal, especially coming from these perspectives. I mean, outside of that, man, so many business books, so many finance books. I've read Trump books. I've read, how he runs his business. Yeah, I've read so much later. I mean, it's really, if I told you how many books I read, it would be like it would sound, crazy. But you over the course of 15 years, man. I mean, I would always have a book in my hand, business books. I got an enormous library. I mean, right here that I can just, my bibliography. But yeah, a lot of business towards the end, and especially coming close to my, me coming home. I really started getting heavy into the business books. A lot of real estate books. A lot of really Robert Kiyosaki. He has a good way of educating us on how to win big in real estate. A lot of real estate law books. If you ever study any great empires, if you will, or conglomerates or big corporations, the most powerful people in their circles are the lawyers. They're usually on the boards. Usually, they sit on the boards. They're usually high-ranking officials in the company, because they're the ones who understand the rules. They're the ones who, write the destinies of these companies. And even if you're not an attorney, just having a relationship with a good attorney adds so much value. And they're great for networking, because everybody needs one. That's if I give up a jewel, man, a great attorney in whatever field you're in, a great attorney, if only for networking purposes, is great to have. Because you got to think, some of the people at the highest levels of the game, they're consulting with these people. So these attorneys are the conduit. They're like the hub. And so many things, they're just so resourceful, So I learned the value in that. But yeah, man, reading is fundamental.
Yeah, man, that's huge. And I'm actually glad you said that too, because like two of my best friends are lawyers. So shout out to that. Having them, actually, I mean, even just having them as friends was able to help Greg out with his situation while he was going through it. So you are definitely right. Having some lawyers on the team is a major key. I'm just blessed to actually call them homies too. But major key. And even another thing you said too was I know that Trump has been kind of a hot button issue, but I think a lot of people they miss the message because of the messenger. And it's like whether you like him or not, he has accomplished a lot of great things, had the most powerful office in the land. And whether, I mean, you can, it's like one of my OGs says, he's like, when it comes to information, he's like, eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? So eat what, like, take what you need and what's going to be of benefit to you, and whatever isn't, ignore it and put it where it's supposed to be. So that's a major key right there. And on top of that, I mean, the next thing I want to say is too, I mean, I can't even express that enough. Reading is fundamental. That's what they say, but like, there's so much information, so much game out there, man. Like, and I mean, a lot of folks act like it's being hidden from you, but it's not. You're just not looking for it, right? So yeah. So Greg, I don't know if you wanted to chime in.
They
real
always
quick.
said, if you want to hide something from a ninja, put it in a book. And it's a fact. Like, when I was away, I did a lot of reading. Matter of fact, that's the most reading I've ever done, to be honest with you. Like, when I was gone, because I mean, I had time. And like, I remember I got to a point where I was just reading and working out. And in the beginning, I was doing the same thing, figuring out how to get out, knowing I was on some BS. You know what I'm saying? So it's time to go home. But then when I realized, okay, I just got to do it, I started focusing on working out, reading books, and just like my mindset shift to where I wasn't like, even though I was in, mentally, I was not in no more. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I spent a yard with some of the guys and they couldn't understand it. And I'm like, yo, I prayed for it and I got it. Because if you keep thinking about these walls and these fences and all of that, like, you just in, you know what I'm saying? So like, even the way like our yard was set up, we had like a little pond and it was like some trees behind the fence. So when I'm running, mentally, I'm kind of like running in a park. Like, it is what it is. And it's like a huge circle. So whatever, I'm running, then I'm working out and I'm going back, I'm a shower and I'm getting this book. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we talking about, like, if we sit around talking, we talk about glory, you know what I'm saying? Like our glory days, but I'm not living like that no more. So yeah, I did it. Like, you can see my paperwork, it is what it is. No, I can't put you on when I come home because I'm not on that no more. Like, so like, what are we talking about? Oh, you planning another trip back? Well, shout out to you.
Yeah.
I'm not on that. So I'm just in a book.
Right.
No, that's real, man. So now salute to both y'all, because I mean, both y'all definitely had the right mentality, and I've never been in, but I feel like, I mean, for anybody who
never going.
I'm never ever going, right?
Ever going.
Yeah, man. But honestly, I think it's because of guys like you. Because honestly, I mean, even just you, G, even whether it be joking or serious, I'd be like, I'm trying to be like you, and you'd always say, don't be like me, be better. And always appreciated that. You know what I mean? Like that was always very real to me, man, for sure, man. So all right, so
before we move on, right? Damn, I lost my train of thought before. So oh yeah, so like, even with like what Dre was saying about being able to maneuver in the world he maneuvered in, right? That's what, like, that doing, like, okay, so not glorifying it, but being able to do the things I was able to do gave me supreme confidence in anything I did. Because like he said, there is no ports. So, you know what I'm saying, you have to go outside of where you are. You have to step outside of your comfort zone to make these things happen. And to be able to do that and to put it together so well and then see it work, it just gives you a supreme confidence to say, hey, bro, anything I do, I know I have it up here to do it. So it's just on me to do it. You know what I'm saying? From here and here, I got it. So I just have to take those steps and do it no matter what it is. Real estate, trucking, anything you want to do. You want to start a restaurant, whatever it is. Like, it gave me supreme confidence to know that, hey, I built something from nothing, just like you did, Dre. Like, you know, from nothing. Like, you came outside, it was nothing out there. We had to figure it out. And to be able to maneuver through the areas and through with the people, and then build something that was substantial, that helped a lot of people. Come on, bro. It's nothing they can't do. Like, like, no one can tell me it's nothing.
Yeah. And honestly too, you know what? I think that a lot of street guys need to appreciate the fact that it's like, man, look, if you can be outside, there's all kind of people outside. I mean, there's street guys, it's shooters, it's robbers, it's swindlers and finessers. And the fact of the matter is that if you can move around in that environment, you are more than prepared to move around in corporate America, because it's the same thing, right?
Right. The only difference is Like, and it took me a second to understand that, especially while I was fighting my case and I really got into real estate hard. I had to separate the two because the same rules do not apply. You know what I'm saying? Like the same rules from outside don't apply in business. Whereas, oh, Steph, you owe me some bread, bro. You don't have my money. All right, I'm doing you something, and it is
it's
what
violence.
it is.
Yeah.
Straight violence in business, not that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's lawsuits.
It's lawsuits. So
yeah.
So yes, you're right. But certain things you have to be able to separate that, hey, bro, like you're playing in a different arena. Like it's the same game, but the rules are just a little bit different. You know what I mean? And then like people break in my house and ADT will call the police. And I talk to them on the phone, like, yeah, they broke into my spot. You know what I'm saying? And I like prior to like, bro, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right. I got shot, bro. I don't know who shot me. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It happened. I was outside. It happened. I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? But now that you're not living like that, somebody broke in here. Investigate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. And to my point, I mean, now here's the thing, right? What I'm saying is it's the same kind of characters that, I mean, from the street to the board, same kind of stuff, but you can't react the same. So I'm glad you said that, because I mean, you can't react and you can't behave the same. You gotta maneuver differently, but understand that if you can navigate through that world, you can navigate through this one. Just understand that you got to operate a little bit differently so that you can move smoothly, because I mean, it's a different game, but with the same players. So
right. I mean, it's 2 rooms. I mean, it's 2 rooms full of vultures.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just move through both rooms the same way you would. I'm saying over here, the same. You know what I'm saying? Like you move the same way. Like you just move through it and accomplish what you're accomplishing.
Yeah,
it's just really that simple.
Exactly. Man, listen. So yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. This is about you, man. Go ahead.
I'm glad you guys you speaking so much to my experience. In all honesty, man, for me, man, the streets were a lot harder. This is the hardest thing that I ever had to navigate, because the stakes were so much higher. Yeah. And I do agree, like, because I mean, coming from the streets, you living in an environment, man, it's pretty much the wild, wild west, going into the prison system where it's contained, where the stakes are just as high, because bad character, you can't escape the consequences of your actions. You know what I'm saying? In the streets, you may feel like you can escape, you know? So, you know, in navigating through those walks of life, it develop, man, you develop a level of awareness, a level of perception, a level of judgment that prepares you. And if you can do that, man, you can do anything, like Greg said. Human character is what it is, no matter where you go, no matter where you find yourself. So yeah, you're gonna find the thief in the street, you're gonna find the thief in the boardroom. But the difference is once you've gone through these things and have experienced the ways of a thief, you know how to see a thief no matter where you are. You know what I'm saying? You know how to position yourself. So man, anybody out there, man, we do ourselves a disservice, man, taking those chances. The stakes are just higher in the street. We betting our lives, man, for $100,000. You know, guys end up making $1 million because they become good at it, but no one starts. Anybody starting out hustling, man, they just trying to, because who really of a sound mind really wants to do that? It's not a. When I was coming up, it's kind of like what we had to do. Yeah, that's where the extras came from. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so but at all times, man, I was on the line, and that's what I learned when I got into when I started to come down in custody, man, and I got into the camps with the white collar guys. You know, they were coming in, man, for embezzling millions of dollars. They still taking care of their families. Their families still living the same quality of life prior to them coming in. You know, they getting the visits, they flying their families from all over the country, you know, and they're gonna go home and they're gonna jump right back into life in the same arenas. Now, granted, you know, when you had that label on your head, you know, it comes with some restrictions, but they were going to be fine. They had relationships. They had, you know, us. We in there with 3, 4, 5 times the time. Money been spent. You done paid your mother bills. You done paid everybody. Your money's dry. You got 30 years. That little $250,000 you had put up, you know, man, with the win, and you don't have any resource, you don't have any connections in that world that you want to go back to. So, you know, we do ourselves a disservice because we missed the mark. And I used to tell the young cats, man, coming in, I said, man, there's more billionaires in the boardroom, man, than it is, man, in the streets, man. I promise you. Because that game ain't designed to last long. This game here was here before we were here, and business will be here, man, when we long gone, man, because it's the root of human commerce. So,
bro, like I kept preaching that when I came home. I kept saying, like, to the bros, I'm like, yo, you and I both know we can make 100 million in these streets, right? How long is it going to take us to make that 100 million? How many lives going to be lost? How many risks we going to have to take to make that 100 million, right? Bro, we can go over here,
go
make that same 100 million with no stress.
Yeah.
That same 100 million. And you get to put everything in your name if you want to. I mean, now in the stage of business we're at, we understand that we don't want to put it in our names, we put it in a trust and things of that nature. But coming from the streets, you ain't never want nothing in your name, ever.
Yeah, right. And how far is that gonna take you? I look at the scammers, man. They got all this money. You can't buy nothing. You got all this money on the internet, man, and you can't buy, you can't deposit it in the bank. You know, you can't do nothing with it.
I remember I went to and that gave me a small shift years and years ago. I went into a Chevy dealership to buy a new Tahoe. I ain't had no credit. I was working on my pocket forever. And the lady looked at me, and the way she spoke to me, I was embarrassed. But then I was also deep down inside frustrated and pissed off because I'm like, I played myself because I should have knew. And I knew that I had enough to buy and sell her. I knew that what I owned, she may never own, but I was playing the wrong game. And I didn't understand business. I didn't understand credit. I didn't understand any of it. I just knew how to make money. So that's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my focus. And then, like, after transitioning, I realized how much freer I feel and like less stress. Like, people think, like, I remember for years they used to say selling drugs was easy. There's nothing easy about it. Like, you watching out for jackets, you watching out for the police, you watching out for your homeboy backstabbing you. You watch, like, bro, you stand over your shoulder. Like, I literally drove in my rearview mirror forever, and I can still find myself driving in my rearview mirror. But I don't feel stressed because I have no problems with nobody, like none.
Peacefully.
Exactly. Like, it's like the stress doesn't even make it worse. And even to your point, Dre, it's like, I know a lot of guys who are like scamming and finessing and stuff like that, but there's no longevity in that. Like, it's not a sustainable business model, because you got to scam this person and then scam that person and the next person. And at the end of the day, like, it should be about doing good business from just from a personal aspect, because then like that's like perpetual. Like, you can always continue to build on that. But even besides that, like, if your paperwork isn't in order, like you ain't got no W-2s, W-9s, you ain't got no credit, you ain't got no EIN, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have any of that stuff, like, there's not much you can do to really get where you want to go. So that's a major key.
Take pictures of
exactly, right? So Dre, right? I mean, on Instagram, I mean, you can flex on the gram. Other than that, like, that gets old too, because I mean, like once you hit 40, 50, 60, like, at that point, like, where are the assets? Where's the wealth? Like what are your kids gonna pack? Because like they can't live off IG likes, you know what I mean? So very major key, right? So Dre, so you reading crazy books from the Ayn Rands and the Trumps and stuff like that. Now, the thing I want to know is, I mean, a lot of guys they'll get out and it's a whole new world. They have no idea what's going on. They have no connections. They have no real direction. but you came out and you like it from what I heard, like you had a plan and continue to build on what you were doing while you were in. So what was that like? Like, what were you doing? Who were you connecting with? What were you reading? Like what were you doing to help kind of put yourself in position after you got out?
Well, the day, or leading up to the day that I got out, or the closer I got to coming home, it had been so long. I left, my oldest child was 9. She's in her 20s when I come home, and it's just like everything was it was an adjustment. The easiest thing to do was to get acclimated. The easiest thing to do was to get back in the hustle and bustle for some reason. I know a lot of people believe that it's hard, but and just watching my peers too, because come home to a halfway house, the level of discipline that I acquired, like Greg said, man, you you develop, you structure yourself, because you have to manage your time. In society, we rent our minds out so often. These cell phones, you get bored and you just look to it to entertain you. Most of us aren't utilizing it as the tool that it is, and researching and developing plans around ideas that we're contriving, but rather we're looking to things, the television, the phones, people to entertain us. So inside, all of that stuff is absent from our experience for the most part. And you can choose to indulge yourself, but then that's another race in and of itself. That's just like the game. You chasing the win. So, when I came home, and prior to coming home, one of my guys that come home before me, he said, "Man, it ain't hard out here. Just keep bidding." I said, "That's valuable." And bidding is really, just your program. What you do to get by on a day-to-day basis, man. How you gonna walk this 20 years down? How you gonna walk this 10 years down? You get up, man, you eat a healthy breakfast, man. You you monitor your health, you stay in condition, you condition your mind, you analyze yourself and your thoughts and your ideas, and you recalibrate, you adjust, reset, and do it all over again. And when I came home, people around me was like, "Man, you just start doing your thing, man," and didn't look back. And really, I just picked up where I left off. It's just, and I tell my sons now, I said, at one time, man, I had more money than brains, and it made me a fool, because I would buy so many frivolous things. How many years I sat in there and realized I don't even know at certain points in my life why I was even hustling.
Right.
Because I could have, but I didn't know how. Like, once again, like we talk about the money, man, when I first started, I had a goal, and when I met the goal so fast, it was like, well, let me do it again. And then, some of the challenges that, I remember being scared for having too much money, because I didn't know where to keep it. Now I got to figure out, because ain't no banks. So I got this house, that house. I got money in the walls. I'm hiding money from my family. I got money stashed in my family members' houses and walls that they don't even know is there. And then you drive off, you're like, what if the house burned down? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just worrying about so many crazy things like that natural people shouldn't even be concerned about. So coming to this point, it's just easier because the framework is there. All you got to do, man, is play by the rules. And it's easier when you're disciplined.
Yeah.
I came out, man, continue to educate myself. Man, was studious about what I needed to get done. And I did it, like, because sitting down, getting up 6 in the morning, man, and watching that clock to 8, or scheduling your day out, man, so that you don't have to watch the clock to 8 and coming out here, man, and task mastering. And I do it one day at a time, man. But I get certifications, man. I got contracts with the district government. I build here, man, with the good brother Greg, man. I'm very studious in real estate. Well, I really work in the real estate industry. Contractor. I got my license, I got certifications, I got, actually, when I came home, a buddy of mine who came home before me, he watched me in the joint. And he came home and he started a company. And this was my first job. Came home and gave me half his company to help him run it, 50%. I mean, but what happened was he had less time than me. And we walked the track and he was just amazed at how I was handling what I was going through. And we would just build, man, on just high-minded things, man. It wasn't always business. Sometimes it was just about, just knowledge itself, man. Just having good character, why one should have good character. Sometimes we would talk about family, and he valued our relationship, and he saw something in me, and he came home and he afforded me an opportunity and felt that it would, enhance his situation as well. And that was practice, because I actually helped him build his company and he's gone. And also for me, it allowed me to test out, my theories, my ideas, and that in and of itself, like Greg said, because I went through several years of regaining or obliterating some of the socioeconomic insecurities that I didn't know I had. We grow up and we're shaped to an extent by our cultural experiences. And things outside of our cultural experiences are, because they're different, we don't embrace, or we shun, or we stay away, or we look down, or we just feel like that's not for us. So we lose out, the lack of objectivity, we lose out on certain opportunities because, we don't know how to speak to white men, or we think that all white men are prejudiced, or whatever the case. Because we all suffer the stereotype. I mean, no matter how broad-minded you are, you possess a stereotype in your mind. So, I'm going through stages and experiences, even through prison, having to deal with other people, having to be socially astute. I mean, and it started prior to, with having to deal with street guys from other regions, other cultures, people from other countries. So, just steady learning these lessons. But, I come home and I'm thrown into a real business situation. And it's like, do your thing. This is what you want to do. And man, and we blew up. It's just, I stepped away from that, for no bad reason, but that was his thing, and he was going in a particular direction, actually. But I learned so much from helping him, and he got so much out of the help. It was a reciprocal relationship, man, that worked beautifully for the both of us, and it's helped me. And I've come home and actually helped a lot of others that never really got lost in the streets, but have been out here consistently doing their thing to, I've been an inspiration. And these are just my close friends, just motivating them. Man, Greg motivates me all the time. Every time I speak to Greg and I tell him, is he has that, it's that gift, man. But, and just seeing somebody, and we need that. I think that's another lost insecurity as a child, not having that mentorship, not having that, and me and this man, I might be a little older than him, but he's a man nonetheless. And that's all, that's the only criteria that's necessary to be a leader. I mean, in life. So his movement, his activity, and I know his background, and we share the same experience. I watch him, and it stimulates me. And soon enough, man, we're gonna meet at the apex of a movement, man, and that thing is gonna. But man, it's just, man, application is the key, man. Applying yourself, man.
Yes, sir.
We work hard at naught, man. And with a lot less effort, man, we could be great. We could be great, man, at all of the things that we think are beyond our reach. Sometimes we create glass ceilings over our own heads, man.
Yeah, bro. Like you said all the time, like the sky's not the limit, it's just a view. Like nothing in this world I can't do. Like none of them. And we just gotta apply ourselves. And the thing is, a lot of us don't understand it. And even like for me, it's not even, it ain't even really experiences. Like, well, this is an experience. It's like from when I went to prison, bro, like I understood God's grace. So I don't take it for granted. Like, bro, don't ever ask me how I'm doing. I'm forever good. I'm home with the kids, but like, what are we talking about? I'm always good. Everything else we'll figure out.
No question. Ain't no bad day. Yeah.
Ain't no bad day.
And you know what, man? And I love what you said too, man, because like, as far as people just creating their own glass ceilings, that's what I speak to. I mean, it's a term that everybody knows, a lot of people know, but it's like, it's that scarcity mentality as opposed to having an abundance mentality. And I tell people all the time, it's like, man, like, look, even though times may be difficult or whatever that may be, it's like at the end of the day, the opportunities to be successful and to get money and to do whatever you want to do, it's out here for all of us, because God didn't put us here to struggle and suffer. Like if you exist right now, there are enough resources and opportunities and education and relationships and whatever you want to get out here for you, if your mindset is in the right place to receive that. So I think that's awesome, man. Most definitely. So man, look, first of all, I got tons of game and tons of information. And like you said, I mean, one, every time I talk to Greg, I'm inspired, but talking to both of y'all, I'm super inspired right now. So definitely got a lot of energy and a lot of things I want to focus on. And on top of that, too, I think some of the things that you said that were a major key that a lot of folks probably don't think about is, one, besides the fact, like you said, these phones are distraction machines, but this is where you can write your ideas down, you can come up with business plans, you can research. I mean, listen, if everybody has Google and access to YouTube University is a very real thing. I've built businesses off of skills that I've learned from YouTube, graphic design, web design, just business operations, and learning how to podcast. Like all that is what I learned just from my own research and using these tools the right way. So I think that's a major key. But even besides that, just time management, man, and really running your mind and not having your mind run you, because your mind it'll seek out information and not information, but entertainment, right? But if you're not using it the right way, you just waste time and be distracted the whole time, man. So super incredible game from both of y'all, man. So all right, so a couple more things to wrap up. So all right, so Dre, when it comes to inspirations, like who inspires it? It could be family members, it could be other entrepreneurs, it could be personal friends, whoever. Like, who are some folks that inspire you?
That inspired me?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah.
Man, for one, and I'm not even, I know you think this ain't cliche, man, but really, Greg really inspires me. You know what I'm saying? And my children, and he inspire me in different ways. But Greg, man, just because I'm a more in-depth type of person. I think the skill set that I was born with that allows me to navigate different circles in life is my depth of perception. And Greg has a character about him, that supersedes. It's not superficial. It's not about not even about what I'm doing or what I can get or, you know, what's happening. He just has a genuine personality, you know. And I like to, I like to look to my peers for inspiration because it keeps, there's something called a circle of influence.
Yep.
You want to keep your square circle and you want to keep that circle tight. You know what I'm saying? So the people around you, you know, you want are really the most important people in your experience because they have the greatest influence over your lives. You know, if you choose to pick crazy characters and place them in your life, you know, then your life is going to be very eventful and probably not. But you know, and my children, because I look to my children and see a lot of myself. And I'm very, very, very big on parenting because culturally, and you know, it stems from a lot of different reasons, but systematically, culturally, our legacies have continued to be broken. And I don't, you know, I'm not here. That's another conversation for another time to determine whether it's been done intentionally, but it's definitely obvious. And the reason why culturally, and I'll speak for myself, I don't want to be inclusive, but you know, we're used to, we have to, it seems like as a culture, we're always forever beginning.
Yeah.
Where other cultures, you know, are picking up where their parents left off, or where those before them left off, you know. And so my children remind me all the time that I have to continue, I have a responsibility to give back because I don't want them to have to find their way. Remember, I told you I didn't have any doctors or lawyers. I had one mom who was scrambling to try to figure it out. And a lot of times she was like, son, I need your help. You know what I mean? Great woman because she instilled good character and virtue in me. Very principle-oriented woman. And she gave me the best she had. She gave me all her love, you know. But in the era of time, you know, you know, my mother, you know, she was raised humbly, didn't have a lot of education. So, you know, we grinded it out. But my sons, you know, they give me the reason to be. Now, in terms of somebody that I would aspire to, you know, emulate, there's a lot of people out there that I mean, of course, and you know, I say Jay-Z, and you know, that's kind of cliche for our generation, but I can identify with him. You know, he's another, excuse me, come from nothing, man, and use the tools that he was born with, you know, to navigate life and to position himself in the place of the people. A lot of people criticize him, and the youth don't really understand because they don't know the struggles of our era. But man, a phenomenal character. When he speaks intelligently. He knows what he's talking about. He's informed. He's respected. In fact, you know, whatever circle he steps in becomes a power circle. You know, and I got huge respect for that guy, man.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
Man, and yeah, go ahead.
To touch on Jay-Z, right? Jay, I respect that brother because I understand where he comes from. He comes from where we come from, right?
Yeah.
And you can see it in his business moves where he's a man of character and principle. And he will do things in the quiet and you'll hear about it here and there. It'll be like, damn, like that's real. But he didn't do it for praise. He did it because it was the right thing to do, or he's trying to help whoever he's trying to help. Right. And to see him come from hustling to being worth $1 billion, What's gonna stop us? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like the only thing gonna stop us is us. Like we stand on our square, we keep our circle tight, and we keep moving as men of honor and principle, and keep our face clean. And do good business. Like I mean, at the end of the day, it all boils down to really doing good business. I mean, because like this is what we're doing. Like if you're watching this podcast, if you're investing, you're doing business. You're a businessman or woman. As long as you do good business, and like you really can't go wrong. You just can't. Like even if that business fail, the fact that you've done good business with people, they will always try to help you because you've always done right by them.
Yep.
Yes. Absolutely.
Man, honestly, first of all, I couldn't agree more. And you actually ended up answering both questions, because I was going to ask you your inspirations, and then also ask you who your favorite rapper was. But there goes 2 in 1 right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and it's wild because I actually had a dream last night that I was sitting down chopping it up and telling Jay-Z some business ideas, and like I actually like woke up like, oh no, like I need to get to work for real, because if I'm dreaming it like that, that means it's somewhere possible, and I gotta keep grinding and keep building this thing brick by brick. So yeah, man. So look, man, brother Dre, I appreciate your time. Big G, always appreciate you, holding it down with me on the show, man. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Dre?
No, man. Thank you guys, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's definitely, you talked about business and that void being there. And that's where business ideas come from, the need to fill that void and trying to figure out how to fill that void. You guys definitely are filling a void, man. You're speaking to a demographic that needs to hear this, and one of my mottos is the truth can't be concealed. We just, if you're a seeker, you'll find it. But those who aren't seeking may not be seeking because they don't know it's there. So if y'all keep speaking that truth, man, and keep putting it out there, trust me, man, like mine's gonna gravitate. I appreciate this.
Bro. Hey.
I never seen myself doing anything like this, man. And like I said, it's an honor, man. So, you give guys like me, man, another reason to be.
But you know what?
It's an honor to have you, man.
I feel like at some point we're gonna get you back on here to get you more comfortable, so we can get more deeper into details. Because I mean, like you lived an interesting life, bro. I'm saying gonna hold you. And even like with the show, I remember. So like I talked to my homies. Like I had a couple of really really good friends while I was in, and I talked to them, like we talked business and things of that nature, and like a lot of stuff like people just didn't know. And I'm like, yo, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Until I was able to actually, Stef put me on to the information when he came and picked me up from jail when I bonded out. And that just, I'm saying like I just was off and running from there. And I'm like, the fact is we just don't have the information. So if I know that, let's give it to him. And like I came and I said to Stef, I'm like, hey, bro, let's do a podcast. And mind you, I don't talk to people, bro. Like anybody that know me from school anyway, you see me in the club, I'll get a table and I'll be in the cut. I just want a table so people ain't walking over top of me, but I don't want the spotlight. Like just leave me in the shade. Like in school, I'm in the back of the class. On the bus, I'm in the back of the bus. Like that's just me. So, but I knew that we had to do this, because if we keep saying we need a change and we ain't gonna make the change, who gonna do it? We gotta step up and do something.
Facts.
So brother, I appreciate you being on, son. And Steph, I appreciate you, bro. Because when I'm not talking, you holding it down for us, bro. Keep it a buck.
If it's one thing I can do, it's definitely talk. You know what I mean? So there's that. For real.
Look, I don't have no problem with coming back, man. But you think it's a possibility that I can get one of those shirts? I don't need to even wear. I want to wear that. I need that in my closet, man. I need one of those shirts, man.
That's
I want to represent, man.
Man, it's funny you mentioned that, because like we're actually in the process of building up the full brick by brick site. But I got him up because Greg said he needed some shirts for upcoming conference for EYL, right?
I'm going to DJ Envy and Caesar having their real estate conference on the 31st of July, and I'm going to that. So I need to get a whole new set. So because like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm there to learn, but I'm also there to network and do business and show people that, man, we out here really trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, come get with us. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure put an order in for you, bro.
Yeah,
like, that's easy.
And we got the whole site coming with the merch and the shirts, hats, hoodies, and the whole nine. So definitely stay tuned, man. Once again, Dre, thank you, big bro, thank you. And this has been episode 11 of the Brick by Brick podcast. Episode 10 is uploading right now to Anchor FM and uploading onto YouTube and all that too. So that's coming soon. And once again, appreciate y'all, man. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.